start with the last game.
Damn, but I was ready this week. See that?
With Temple, we'll start with them. Just what do you see on film from those guys thus far?
You know, Temple, it's a different scheme. It's the most unique scheme defensively that we've played to date. And it's been a weird season in that played 8 games now, 6 teams. We either have been teams we haven't played, or haven't played a long time ago, like Appalachian. We played. I know the schools played them. We haven't played that coaching staff, so it's a new defense for you going against it. Or they had a new coaching staff like Central Florida. We'd played them 2 years in a row. They had a new coaching staff, so it was a whole new defense again. Only South Florida and Tulane were we playing the same defense 2 years or 3 years in a row, which getting used to who you're playing helps you a lot. Temple has changed defenses, a lot from last year. And it's a very unique deal. So the scheme is challenging. It really is. The fits and everything, the coverages are different. They're tough. Temple tough is kind of their saying, and I can see that. You see it in how they play, and it'll be a physical game. They'll want to make it a physical game. I think offensively they actually get in the huddle. Somebody told me that's pretty unique. You don't see anybody getting in the huddle, minus the NFL anymore. Going to snap the ball with a little less time. Going to try to keep the possessions down. We had that in last week's game. We only had 10 possessions. So we're expecting that type of a game. We're going to have to make those things count. But they got some big, strong kids. They got some good skill people in the secondary.
Them puddling like that, how much more does that put emphasis on control and time of possession?
Well, it does, and that was kind of what we thought, and it did happen last week. The week before, they had played Temple, and they had kept the ball, and we had a huge possession game. I think we had like 38 minutes, which is huge. All the defense coaches are just bringing us donuts and stuff this week. If you keep doing that, we'll like you and all that. So, yeah, it puts a lot of – you try not to overpressure, yourself up, but, boy, you can't waste any possessions. You really can't, because you may not get it back. They're gonna try to keep the ball and run the clock down, and so you really got to make those things count. You can't turn it over. And that's about what killed us last week. We had a little bit of the slips there early. Luckily, we got that corrected.
How'd that Wednesday ball security drill?
It was intense again today. Okay, no blood from me this week or whatever. I've gotten smarter. I'm standing out of the way a little bit because that's where I got that from. But it was intense again today. And, like I say, the offense kids don't love that drill because they get punched, they get hit. They got 2 guys on one, like I say, but they know it's good for them. It's kind of like medicine. It doesn't taste very good, but they know it's good for them. So we've super emphasized that. Scouts did a good job this week of trying to strip the ball from the backs and receivers and quarterbacks and everybody like that. So hopefully that'll pay off.
You're getting good quarterback play. Is getting better and better as the season progresses. What can you attribute some of that to?
Holton played a great game. I thought he was the most accurate I'd ever seen him. And there's completions, and then there's completions that are more accurate than other completions. You're throwing it right where they need to catch it, where they can run with it a little bit better. And he was really, I thought, on. He's just a great competitor. He just doesn't let things rattle him too much. I think sometimes it motivates him even more. I do think that the schedule, because we had given them a little more rest because we were over-concerned about getting back so late and, that they were going to be tired. So we kind of make the week a little bit more where they'd get some more rest. And I think he felt more rested a little bit because, after the game I said, wow, that's the best I've ever seen you actually throw the ball. It was coming out of your hand the best I've seen, and he said, yeah, I just felt really good. Now, the weather, with the rain and all that, you would have thought, but it didn't seem to bother him, which I thought was another really good tribute to him. Now, his decision-making was very good as well. And I just think he studied hard, I'm saying. He always studies hard. I think maybe he put a little extra time into it. But he's really motivated to finish this season out, really well and get us rolling, get us on another win streak right here. And so we're going to need him to do that this week. He's going to need to play really well because he's going to have the ball every play.
Your 2 running backs kind of have different abilities, different strengths, but they have almost the exact same number of carries. We asked Coach Houston about that a little bit, but how tough is it to balance out that almost down to the number of carries, and how beneficial is it to have 2 guys that can have more than 100 yards or 100 rather carries each at this point in the year?
I think it's great that we have 2 that we would say are good enough to be starters. I wish we had 3. You always want one more. I promise you that we don't sit there and chart okay, he's got 3. We got to get the other guy 3 before we can give him the ball. It's just Coach Foster now is aware that he's rotating them by number of plays and stuff like that. But, they're also getting some touches by catching the ball, and I think that's pretty even as well, too. So it's just kind of working itself out like that. But we're not really charting it like that. But I think they both are equally good. They are different, but I think they're both equally good. Raji had a little bit of, I guess, the more statistical game this past week. It was kind of maybe that type of a game a little bit more. I don't know, but it's just great to have both of them. I'm glad they've been able to stay somewhat healthy. I mean, at this time of year, nobody's totally 100% healthy. Everybody's got something that's bothering them a little bit, but they're both pretty tough mentally, so they're ready to go.
When you first started working with Keaton Mitchell, what were some of the things? Obviously, he has a lot of speed, but what were some of the things that you wanted him to work on and that you guys worked on with him right away to kind of get him to this point?
I think the big thing with Keaton, and this is why Keaton didn't play as much as Raji did last year, or at least early, was Keaton came in and, like pass protection, I guess he had never done it. Like I say, if you had him, you were a high school coach, why in the world would you have him blocking people? You'd be giving him the ball, right? I mean, you'd be wasting time doing that. So, like I say, he's a smaller back to a certain extent. Defense coordinators are pretty smart. They're going to look at your personnel. Okay, small back. People like to rush your back, try to make him have to pick up anyhow. Offensively, you work like crazy to re-ID that stuff and get your quarterback to change the protection so if blitz is coming, the linemen are blocking the blitz instead of the back. But that's the game within the game going on the whole time out there. So Keaton, got exposed like early. Somebody blitzed him, he didn't pick it up. Well, you know what? You're getting ready to see that again. And that was a little bit of an issue. So I think that was the first big thing was with him. And then, because he was such a big play guy, as he is now, boy, think about what he was in high school. So he's used to always making, I'm going for the home run. So sometimes he would make cuts and try to run around people. And, in high school, you're so much faster than everybody else, that works. You get here, there's a few guys who run you down. All of a sudden, you lose 3 yards. You're like, you need to go straight ahead. You're not going to always be able to hit the home run. So I think he had to learn to do that a little bit more. Those were the 2 big things.
Coach, 8 games in, understanding there's been some injuries at tackle. How would you kind of assess the offensive line play?
I tell you what, it's been a mess like it has been the first 2 years as far as injuries. Like I say, starting with like the 4th play of the year, Bailey goes down. Rob stepped in. Rob goes down pretty quickly after that. Noah's nursed a back injury the entire time. He's very limited in his practices. He's done a tremendous job for the amount of practice he's got to be able to play as well as he can. I don't think there's been a game, though, where Shank hasn't said, okay, Noah's out. I don't know when he'll be back. His back is spasmed, and they've got him over there, and they're stretching him out or whatever, which is his way of telling me the right tackle now, one-on-one out here, you better be careful what you call. You better have the back chip. You better have a tight end chip, or you better be careful what you call right here. Wow, that's limiting, all of a sudden to be able to do that. And then, Avery's been banged up. He's gutted it out all year long. But again, that's football, I guess. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Probably everybody's O-line's like that a little bit by now. They're all taped up pretty heavily. So they've hung in there. They've done a good job. You know what I'm saying? That's still an area we want to get better at. We would like to be more consistent, in the run game and in pass protection.